Hello, everyone. Oh my gosh, it's been a while. Happy New Year to you all. Welcome back once again. Like I said, I know it's been a while, but I have a couple of things that I'm going to share with you. This is the first of a couple of videos that I intend to put up in the next few days. But just wanted to start off and say hello. And as you can see in front of you, I have a new model, or a newer model in my book anyway, to share with you. This is the special Friendship 1 that was seen on Star Trek Voyager. This ship, or this model, is available exclusively on the Eagle Moss or Hero Collector website. This is not, or as far as I know, was not part of the original subscription. This is one of those extra bonus things that you have to order from online. And so I've had it for maybe about a month or so, but I'm just now getting around to it, life and so on and so forth. Plus, unfortunately, I had COVID in the last couple of weeks, so I've been kind of dealing with that. But in any case, here it is, and I thought I would share it with you. So as you can see, there's a model here in a magazine. So just for a moment, I'll put this aside and then just dive right into it. All right, so there's our magazine there. Gorgeous imagery there on the cover. Friendship 1, and the information down there on the right-hand corner simply states the few basic facts that we know about it from the episode from Star Trek Voyager, launched in the year 2067. So it's about a good 40 years from now, give or take. It's a class. It's a space probe. It's unmanned, of course, and its registry is UESPA-1. So yeah, let's open it up. Of course, the magazine format remains the same as they inevitably always do, which shows you how to mount the model to the stand if that's something that you have any kind of questions about. And more information here, which pretty much repeats everything that I mentioned a moment ago. It is considered a deep space probe, unmanned, of course, and operated by the United Earth Space Probe Agency, which is what the abbreviation stands for. And it was destroyed sometime after 2248 because in the episode, it crash landed on this planet in the Delta Quadrant, and so on and so forth. So turn the page. Another beautiful image of the ship there, which I think is a mirror or reversed image of this image here. So it's going in that direction there, and then the same image has been enlarged, but shows going in the opposite direction there. And a few, excuse me, a little bit of text there, and a screen cap from the episode that it appeared in. So basically what happened was, in this episode, this space probe entered into the Delta Quadrant, or it had been in the Delta Quadrant for, it took a few hundred years for it to get there. And it entered orbit onto this planet, into this alien planet, and it crash landed on this planet, and the inhabitants found the wreckage and the probe transmitting, Earth messages and so on, and thought that humanity was being friendly to them. And in the process, they reverse engineered the probe, particularly with its, I don't know if it had a warp drive or not. I have to look into this. And it looks like it had nacelles, so it probably had a limited warp drive. And they reverse engineered the technology, or tried to, but they didn't know what they were doing. And in the process, they caused an antimatter explosion, which pretty much wiped out the majority of the population on their planet, forcing them to go underground, and they suffered from radiation sickness. A true Star Trek story, if you ask me. So turning the page here, more on that. A little more information there on the left-hand side. And there's no really text there on the right-hand side, but that's okay. We have parts showing you where the components are. And based on this is a warp nacelle, so these aren't just standard engines. So this thing did have limited warp, and it had those are the antimatter pods, presumably the things that blew up on these people. And so yeah, turn the page, and more about the designing of Friendship 1. Very primitive computer concept art from back then. And as you can see, they were thinking about the Nomad probe from TOS. You can see the influences here. But I guess over time, they made it look more like a cross between TOS, the NX-01 era, and NASA. Although Star Trek Enterprise was in the early stages of development by this point in Voyager's 7th season. I think this was 7th season. So we have more concept art there, text, and more concept art and text. And before I embarrass myself by trying to pronounce this fellow's name, I'll just simply skip it by saying Pierre Drolet. Hey, not too bad. So this is about the final days of Star Trek Voyager, and then moving on to Enterprise. So yes, this did take place just toward the end of Star Trek Voyager's run, and as I mentioned a moment ago, Star Trek Enterprise, or as it was simply called then, Enterprise, was in the early stages of development. So this was kind of like a neat way to show some lineage. And more on Pierre's work, including the Klingon, that little freighter that we saw in Enterprise. Romulus. And more on his work, including the Vulcan ship. And the Andorian ship. Both ships we have in the collection so far. And of course, there's some of the Discovery stuff. The Shinzo, and then this wannabe Klingon thing there. And then that pretty much concludes the magazine with an image of the probe there on the back. So now I'm going to dive right into the model itself. Okay, folks, and there you have it. Looks pretty cool. Very highly detailed considering its size. It fits in your hand about that, so not too bad. But from afar, it looks really small. I expected it to be bigger, I will admit. The majority of this thing is plastic. Very little to no metal components. Actually, the metal portion of the body is, or the middle portion of the body is metal, but very light. You can see the early Earth Starfleet pendant or symbol there with the stripe. Obviously, it's all a precursor to the United Federation of Planets. Based on the timeline when this thing was launched, this happened just a few years after, a couple of decades after Cochrane's warp flight. Or just a short time after that. You have more of the United Earth Probe, Space Probe Agency stuff there. So it's legible if you really look at it. And they kind of made it look like it suffered some damage from 200 or 300 years of cruising through the galaxy. The spokes, the antenna arrays on this model came out intact, so they weren't broken. So that's a good thing. You can see it has a hole in there, which is meant to simulate the damage that it's endured throughout its journey. And looks very Earth-like, of course. As I mentioned earlier, a cross between NASA and the familiar Starfleet or Star Trek design that we would see with the warp nacelles, with the TOS era warp nacelles, or actually the NX-01 era warp nacelles there that kind of pop out, kind of like the Phoenix did. And on the back, we have more antenna arrays and the antimatter storage pods, which are here as noted in the magazine. And it's pretty cool. It's it's a nice model. I'm happy with it. The back looks cool. Very nicely detailed considering its size. I was a little disappointed with how small I thought it was, but considering what it is, I don't know how it would have worked if it were bigger. especially with these antenna pieces sticking out. I can easily see this being a problem with parts breaking off and so forth. And just looking at it from afar, none of my pieces appear to be bent or anything. The nacelle, the port nacelle seems to be slightly off, but that's no big deal there. I can fix that if I really want to. Overall, it's a nice model. A nice addition to the Star Trek Starships collection. Again, this is one that would not be found in the collection itself as far as just being one of the ones you'll receive if you subscribe to this thing. You have to actually put some effort and go on the website and find it and order it through that way. Unfortunately, it'll run you about $29. I got it on discount at the time, so that's how I was able to finally get my hands on it. Yeah, it's a very nice model. I watched the episode shortly after I got this, and it was just, I really enjoyed it. Again, after having not seen it for a long time. This is a worthy model, and I would highly recommend it, especially if you love the early Starfleet or the early Earth ships. Particularly these low warp ships and things like that. So it's really cool. I'm happy that I have it. So yeah, again, it fits in your palm about that much. Again, the detail is really pretty high considering its size and how small it is. It has a lot of weathering on it to make it appear damaged, hit by meteors and comets and things like that, and interstellar debris. But based on how we saw it in the episode, it arrived all the way in the Delta Quadrant, pretty much intact, but then it obviously crashed on that planet. And the rest of it is history. So yeah, guys, that pretty much wraps up the Friendship 1 scene on Star Trek Voyager in the episode Friendship 1, I think that's what it's called. Yeah, if you have any questions about it, of course, please feel free to ask me down below, and I will do my best to get back to you in a timely manner. But yeah, guys, until next time, live long and prosper, be safe, get vaccinated, all that good stuff, and take care of yourselves and your families. So I'll catch you guys later. Bye-bye.